Friday.
Yep, I was just gonna say that. For anybody that maybe doesn't know who I am or who we are, we're both friends, best friends since high school, and we are now new into our 40s, and we have lived a life
Yay.
of chaos and a lot of partying and fun and as
Wild, worst case scenario shit that's gonna happen. Yo, we are here to live and tell you all about it.
well here. And the good thing is that Anna's here, because if I was doing this podcast myself, I know people would be like, I don't believe you, because my whole life people would hear some of the stories that I told, and people would think I'm a liar. And because they're so in if I like attract craziness, and the most craziest things in the world happen to me, and only people that really know
Every
me
time.
know it's
Every
true,
time.
because when they're with me, they're just in awe. They're like, how does this happen? At least I mean, she wasn't here for this story, or really even this part of my life. So if you don't know me, I was addicted to drugs. I got prescribed Vicodin at 22 years old, pretty much for no reason, initially for my period. And then I kept getting like increased up to Oxycontin, and one thing led to another, and I turned to heroin because the oxys were like $50 a piece. And desperate times, I figured, what the heck? It was like very socially accepted at that time. And
yeah, because doctors were giving fucking pills out like fucking birth control.
more.
I'm sorry.
It was easier. It was easier.
It was easy. You could go to the doctor and say, my sinuses hurt. And they'd be like, here's a 90-day fucking script of Vicodin. Let me know what happens.
Yeah.
No Z-Pack, no penicillin. Nope. 90 days of Vicodin. It would be like 500 milligrams or like 750s. And they'd be in like different colors. I remember like the green ones. Everyone wanted to get the green ones for the longest
Green
time.
Goblins.
Yes, that's
the
what
Incredible Hulks.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. So if you're like younger, and maybe if you're like younger than us and you're listening to this, you're like, how did you guys like not know? Because back then, like, yeah, don't do drugs. Like that meant like, don't do heroin, don't do crack. It wasn't really pills. Like pills was considered like ecstasy. Like this wasn't a thing. This opioid epidemic, like it was just starting. And
it was okay because the doctors were giving us the meds.
Right.
And we knew they were fucking you up. But I
didn't know that it was gonna. I thought like, yeah, they made me feel good, they made me work better, but like I thought I could just like drop them instantly. And the first time I went into withdrawal, I was actually visiting a friend in college, and I didn't bring pills because I wasn't working, and I was like, who cares? I'm going to like party. And I got really sick, but I didn't know it was because of the pills until I called one of my friends, and she was like, yeah, it's from the pills you take every day. And I'm like, what? And she was like, yeah, they're basically synthetic heroin. And my heart dropped, but I didn't quit. And like, also, if you don't want to know more about the topic, the documentary called Dope Sick on Hulu, it does a really good job explaining about how his name Sackler made the pills, and all the pharmaceutical reps would go around to all the doctors saying that there was this new drug called Oxycontin, and all you had to do was, and they had a protective film around the pill, which all you had to do was literally lick off and like rub, and it would come right off. But even if you didn't take it off, that wasn't going to make the pill not addictive. And it was telling people it was the doctors, it was new medicine, and you could treat it for a moderate to like high pain, and people won't get addicted to it. And not only that, they were getting huge kickbacks, like vacations, like the more they sold. And, the pharmaceutical reps were giving them like, tickets to basketball games, like all this stuff for the more stuff
making a killing.
Billions.
All they were doing.
There was a whole case on it, and he caused single-handedly the opioid epidemic. And to be
One
honest,
person.
that's kind of why I feel so strongly about this like trans issue a little bit, because it's every decade the pharmaceutical company comes up with something different to exploit to people, so people have to get hooked on the medicine for the rest of their lives and become a lifetime patient. Yeah, like I said, it started Vicodins, and then at like 22, and I'm 40, I got clean at 34. So it took me down a wild path. And Anna wasn't into it, so she was living her own life, having a kid, and I was becoming a drug dealer and a drug user and somebody very different than who I am. So, but to make light of it, and also like I do want to spread awareness, like I'm not trying to glamorize anything. This is just kind of like my story, my journey, and you know, hopefully if anybody's listening and you are in the same situation, just know that like it's never too late. You can always get help and you can change your life. You have the power to do that. But some of my stories are just too crazy not to share. So I'm going to share for your entertainment.